From Utah's first TV station, ABC4 News celebrates 75 years.
Good evening, I'm Emily Flores.
And I'm Glenn Mills. Thanks so much for joining us. We do begin tonight with an update on an Amber Alert. A 7-year-old girl safe after police say a woman abducted her. Officials sending out the alert this afternoon with a photo of the alleged kidnapper. You see her here, 56-year-old Bernice Quintana, and a description of her car. Police saying that they believe the child missing since 9:30 this morning was in danger. We now know Quintana is the girlfriend of the child's grandfather, and he's the one who called police.
The suspect had been acting strange over the last month, and then due to the incident that occurred that morning where she again was acting strange, took the child, and the grandfather told her she was not able to take the juvenile.
The Amber Alert was short-lived. Officer Zavala says Quintana turned herself in quickly after the notification went out. Police say they're considering a kidnapping charge and will investigate whether she did anything else to harm the child over the course of the day. Tonight, we're waiting to hear the sentencing of a Utah man who ran over and killed a West Jordan teen back in April. Police say the man, 50-year-old Mason Ohms, was drunk when he crashed into Eli Mitchell.
ABC4 Sarah Murphy live at the sentencing in downtown Salt Lake City. And Sarah, what do we know so far?
Yeah, guys, I'm here at Scott Matheson Courthouse. Now, right now, they haven't reached a sentencing yet. They actually just broke for recess. In the courtroom, there's a very heavy atmosphere as it's filled with the victim's family and friends. Based off his plea deal, Ohms could face up to 20 years in prison. Now, last April, Ohms was leaving Black Sheep Bar in West Jordan when he ran over 13-year-old Eli Mitchell, who was riding his bike. Ohms continued driving to the end of the road with the bike still latched onto his car. Police say Ohms drank 7 beers in 6 hours that night. Mitchell died later that evening. In November, Ohms pled guilty to automobile homicide and failure to remain at the scene. Today, after almost 9 months, Eli Mitchell's family is waiting to hear Ohms' sentencing. They say they're going to forever feel the impact.
I don't think I'll ever have closure. I do look forward to being able to not worrying about this legal component and just being able to focus more on my son. And I've said this before, but people will say, the sentiment is, you'll get through this or you'll get over this. And I never will. I never will get through it.
Ohms could face up to 15 years in prison on second-degree felony and up to 5 years on third degree. The sentencing began at 4 p.m. this afternoon and is still going on. We'll continue to have updates for you later at 6. Live in Salt Lake, Sarah Murphy, ABC4 News, Utah.
All right, thank you, Sarah. Continuing in Salt Lake County, a 14-year-old girl home safe tonight after contacting police while her alleged kidnappers while she was in custody. Salt Lake City police say 26-year-old Jonathan Simonji abducted the child while she was walking home late Saturday. Police documents show he tried to lure her with beer and food, but the young girl continued to refuse until he hinted he had a weapon. Police say at some point after he reportedly brought her to an Airbnb, she managed to download the Safe UT app and reach out for help. They found her in bed with the man in just his underwear. He faces a felony kidnapping charge.
Now to new developments as state leaders say they will take legal action to keep children safe online.
Governor Spencer Cox and attorney Sean Reyes announcing plans to social media companies to protect kids' mental health, citing research that correlates social media use to mental health issues like anxiety, depression, eating disorders, and physical threats like propensity for violence or exposure to bullies and sexual predators.
We are not here to destroy companies. We are here to destroy the threat that many social media companies have allowed to grow to the great detriment of our kids.
The governor and attorney general say they will soon divulge the exact legal action they plan to take. This move comes as one of Utah's U.S. representatives gears up to introduce his bill that would ban all social media for kids ages 15 and under. If passed into law, social media platforms would become legally liable if they fail to keep children off their apps.
Turning now to a first look at the weather forecast, and oh my goodness. It is so cold out there.
Chief Meteorologist Alana Brophy joining us with the week's forecast ahead. Alana.
You don't realize it's that cold because it looks beautiful with the sunshine, but then you step out there and go, hold on, we're running below average statewide. We start down in St. George where we've got that beautiful sunshine on the Red Rock, but temperatures are 10 degrees colder than where they typically are, 44 degrees. The northerly winds have definitely been an issue. They just dropped that wind alert, but we had a wind advisory with a 59-mile-per-hour wind gust in Hurricane. So we know very gusty winds, especially near the canyons. The winds play into the temperature because this is the real feel. I know your phone will tell you Salt Lake is at 33, but with that northerly wind, it feels like 22 degrees, and the wind chill throughout the Wasatch Front making us feel so frigid. Also the case over in Moab, and it feels like it's in the teens down the I-15 corridor. That northwesterly to northerly wind, boy, it really makes a difference, and it's out there tonight. So are a few lingering showers, and we anticipate there's a weak disturbance coming through that could bring in pockets of some showers into northern and central Utah, mainly over the higher elevations, but you can't rule out the fact that we could see that in the valleys as well. How long the cold air holds on coming up in my full forecast in just a few moments. Glenn, Emily, over to you.
Thank you, Alana. A cruise to Greece, leaving a Utah woman hospitalized and her family with a lot of unanswered questions.
Yes, ABC4's Annika Johns joining us live in Murray from outside the hospital where her loved ones hope she wakes up sooner rather than later. And Annika, we're told the family's pretty frustrated with the cruise line at this point. Why?
Yeah, Emily, so after speaking to Evelyn Howard's family, they told me that she was left stranded in Greece after she became ill. And instead of alerting the family about what happened, both the cruise line and hospital didn't say anything to them until they started searching for Evelyn themselves.
After finishing a 4-year mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, 82-year-old Evelyn Howard decided to pack her bags and sail out into the Mediterranean on a cruise.
She's traveled the world multiple times, and she hadn't traveled due to COVID for about 3 years. So she had 3 trips lined up right in a row, one after another.
While in Greece, Evelyn started to feel ill and was later hospitalized. She was then put on a ventilator to treat pneumonia. Evelyn's family didn't know anything was wrong until after she didn't return and a concerned neighbor reached out to her family.
She has a friend named Marie. She's looking for her, calling her. I'm used to her leaving, calling us back when she wants to. She's really independent. But she never called anybody back, and she never showed up home.
On December 22nd, the family got a hold of the cruise line and was told that Evelyn was still in Greece and in the hospital. This has left the family wondering why weren't they contacted by the cruise line or hospital about Evelyn's condition in the first place.
Nobody reached out to us. I want to make that clear. Not the cruise line, not the hospitals. Nobody reached out to the next of kin or emergency contact. Nobody.
Evelyn is currently back in the States and being treated at the Intermountain Medical Center in Murray.
She is off all the things to keep her in a coma. Like, they've stopped the sedation medicine since Tuesday, but she just won't wake up.
Evelyn has a GoFundMe page set up in her name to help cover medical costs and the over $40,000 payment her family had to make to bring her back to the States. Reporting live from Murray, Annika Johns, ABC4 News.
All right, Annika, thank you. Well, in Park City now, the news of a shooting in Monterey Park, California. During the Lunar New Year celebration, rocking an actress ahead of her movie premiere at Sundance Film Festival yesterday. Sherry Cola, having just spent time in her hometown, the site of the shooting last week. Now, Cola co-stars in a film about 3 Asian American Pacific Islanders living in the Bay Area. The cast grappling with the assault on 10 members of their community while talking about the film.
It's just a reminder that we still have to reclaim our validation as human beings in this country.
Tonight, the suspected gunman's motivation remains unclear. The man shooting himself while police searched for him. Police investigating his relationship to the victim, saying they have not ruled out domestic violence.
A controversial education bill moving forward on Utah's Capitol Hill. The Senate Education Committee voting 7-2 to send House Bill 215 to the Senate floor. The bill would allot government funds for private school tuition and raise teacher salaries by up to $6,000. Today's deliberation comes after the Utah State Board of Education votes to publicly oppose it.
What we're not doing in our public education. What aren't we doing that we need to do? And let's fund that.
We anticipate most students who use this will do the hybrid model that was described or do it for microschooling and homeschooling at home.
A number of public education stakeholders meeting on Capitol Hill this very moment, calling for lawmakers to stop this bill. Second vote in the Senate is expected Wednesday, I'm told, with a final vote on Thursday.
A resolution heading to the Senate could change courts' power to stop certain actions during a lawsuit. House Joint Resolution 2 moving through the House today. It limits judges from issuing preliminary injunctions unless there is, quote, substantial evidence those suing will win their case. It also retroactively applies to existing injunctions, including the ongoing ban on Utah's abortion trigger law. The bill's sponsors say current grounds for injunctions are too vague. Meanwhile, opponents argue this move is an overreach.
I mean, anytime you file a lawsuit, that's a serious issue, or it should be treated as a serious issue that needs further litigation. And so that standard becomes so low.
I see this resolution, honestly, as a flex of the legislature's power, and it comes at the expense of an independent judiciary.
Planned Parenthood Utah says they are monitoring the resolution closely. They're concerned it could undercut the court's 2022 decision and allow the outright ban on abortion with few exceptions to go into place.
Coming up, a Farmington man worries he could lose his home as UDOT looks to expand the I-15. Hear his story and public comments across the board out today. That's in a few moments.
Plus, a mix of sun and clouds out there. Live look at Lehigh. It is a very frigid start to the work week. How long the cold sticks around and when to expect some precipitation in Utah's most accurate forecast.